This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 9th of October. My disclaimer, I did this for educational purposes only. I'm here sharing my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from and transfer it to your own charts. I'm not issue trading signals. Right. Okay, we saw a fairly strong day yesterday. We made a marginal higher high on SPX and ES, I was saying yesterday that we needed to break down yesterday or today for the head and shoulders, and really it's starting to look rather too ripe. I think the head and shoulders setup is deteriorating, and the more it deteriorates, the more likely it is that we're going to see a retest of this high. NQ was leading yesterday, I think. Made a significantly higher high there, and I think NQ and ES are both looking as though we may well be seeing a retest of the all-time highs pretty shortly. RTY still looking as though it's forming a bull flag. Although if we have another leg down within that flag, it's probably going to be getting a little oversized. Arguably, not necessarily, because here we could take the low as being from here. Rather than from here. But so we will see how that goes, but it still looks like a bull flag forming. And on Dow, we broke down slightly from the head and shoulders. So we'll have a look at that in a minute on the RTH charts. On DAX, we got a potential double bottom here. On the STX, we've got a potential double bottom here. But at the moment, all of the daily middle bands are holding. And while that remains the case, we're on an overall bullish lean. Okay, looking at the 15-minute chart on SPX, we're losing the head and shoulders. No question about it. We could just about hold it by breaking down right now, but it's already deteriorated significantly. NDX, we're very much losing the head and shoulders, not quite as badly, but not well either. It's looking at Dow. We've got, Dow, we've got, it hasn't failed. I think that had broken down slightly, or very, very slightly, or possibly just made a perfect touch. So we've got a decent looking head and shoulders there, but it hasn't broken down yet, and obviously it might not. Let's have a look at the bigger picture charts on here. Now, ES, obviously we're nowhere near the daily sell signal target. So I'm still leaning towards making that, and I'm thinking if we go back and retest this high, we've got resistance, obvious resistance not far above, because we've got a very nice looking overall head and shoulders, rising wedge here. It really is very, very nice indeed. I'm still expecting to see a test of the rising support trend line before we see the resistance trend line again. Nothing is certain. Nothing is ever certain. But still, I think my lean is quite strongly in that direction. So if we do see a retest of the high here, I'll be wondering seriously about a double top. All right, looking at the NDX chart. NDX, we've held obviously the daily middle band. We saw a nice touch of the daily middle band, and we're coming up from that. The obvious target really is a retest of the high from here, and I think that's probably what we're going to get. On the hourly chart, no current divergence. We've got a decent looking, not as nice as the SPX one. We got a decent looking rising wedge there too. Would I make the same comments about it? No, because we've got a really nice alternate trend line here, and it's nicer. So we will see how that goes. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this do a retest of the all-time high, actually. But actually, the short-term target is just a retest of the short-term high at 2,200. Looking at Dow. Dow, we had a nice hold of the daily middle band again. And at the moment, we've still got a nice looking head and shoulders here. Given that yesterday was all mainly about the NASDAQ, we could see NASDAQ and SPX retest the highs and still have the head and shoulders on Dow. So we shall see. All right, looking at the IW. No current divergence. Still got a nice looking overall bull flag forming. And it's pretty decent. So I'm mainly watching that. We haven't got any divergence on the hourly chart. We haven't got any divergence on the bigger picture charts either. DAX is just thinking about returning to possibly retest a high again. That's been testing the daily middle band. Nikkei, harder to say on the Nikkei. This hasn't really been following the others quite as much the last few days. Back at the daily middle, back at the daily upper band. and testing that. All right, so let's have a look at the dollar. Dollar is creeping upwards. We've got no current divergence at the moment. We did have a little top forming here, and this could be a little double top, but I'd really be expecting to see a minimum of 102.95, and I'm expecting that target to get made. ZB, we've been messing up the supporting trend line. This no longer looks like a flag. We've come down too low, and we've really been making a mess of the trend line. We do have a 60-minute buy signal fixed. So far, that's not delivered anything. CL, we saw a sharp retracement. This could be a head and shoulders that's been forming, but it's not a really nice one. So no current positive divergence, but if we retest this short-term low, we could set that up, as we have done on NG. NG, I'm wondering about a possible head and shoulders forming here. This could be a nice one, but we haven't got it yet. So I am wondering about this being a little double bottom to make the right shoulder, up with a target in about the 2.87 area, and we've got a 60-minute buy signal brewing there. All right, GC. GC made it to the monthly pivot, and I was saying it might do that as part of a flag, and it made it to the monthly pivot, and it still looks like a flag. SI is breaking down slightly from the double top here. That's got a target in about the 29.10 to 29.25 area. We'll see whether it makes it. HG went a bit lower and still looks as though it is forming a flag. I don't have an obvious trend line to be watching here at the bottom, unless it's that one, which I think we've already gone through. No, fair enough. All right, we do have a potential trend line there. I am watching for the resistance here. Is this going to play out in the absence of a move down? Sorry, a move down on the dollar. I don't know. But I'm bigger picture. I think the dollar is still in an overall uptrend, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't have a rally that lasted months. We'll see how that goes. But I am wondering about it. It's so we've definitely got a setup and some patterns which could support such a rally. And every so often, US dollar does do this. So I'm wondering about that. But at the moment, it's looking as though the dollar, looking at the metals, you would be guessing that the dollar move won't be that long lasting, and that he's going to be heading back up afterwards. So we will see how that goes. All right, let's have a look at. Hang on, let's just have a quick look at the bigger picture on oil and natural gas while I'm just saving that change. Oil and natural gas, RSI 5, RSI 14 sell signal fixed on that gas. I think any rally will be before more downside. We don't have any negative divergence on CL, and we might not get any, but I'd quite like to see a retest of this high to set some up on the RSI 5. I think this move down yesterday was strong enough that that's debatable. And that was a 5.5 back move. That's a big move to come straight back up for a retest and deliver some negative divergence. We will see. All right. Looking at the euro, has broken down from a large double top, and that's got a target basically targets around the 108 area. That is favoring the downside. I would also note on USD CAD, we've got this lovely looking double bottom, which is starting to break up. That has a target a long way up. And we've also got another potential double bottom on USD JPY. That hasn't broken up yet, but if these break up, then obviously that could be a strong indication that the dollar is going to rally, is going to continue higher, and I wouldn't be that surprised to see it get to 105. Metals are really not confirming this though, so we will see. And obviously double bottoms can fail, and this one hasn't actually even broken up. Looking at KC, we've got a double top here which is broken down with targets basically around 222.50. And that we're seeing a little bull flag, which we would often see in this situation. So I'm thinking we may be still on the way to that target. SB, this looks like a bull flag forming. I was mentioning we might see a test of the month pivot. We're pretty close to a test of the month pivot. CC has very, very, very slowly broken up from this double bottom. That's got a target in about the 75.50 area, I think. On ZW, waiting to see if we go up. We do have some indications of downside on the other grains. This is a head and shoulders, and it's a nice one, and it's trying to break down with a target at about the 410 area. Looking at soy, we've got a breakdown with a target in the 1000 to 1004 area. At the moment, no indication it's not going to reach that, but we do have a little 60-minute buy signal which has fixed, which has delivered a little bit of a rally so far. CT, this was looking like a triangle. It's now looking like a more conventional flag. So we will see likely a bull flag forming to take this higher. On lumber, we've got no retest of this high yet. I'm still wondering about it. This was a little double top which broke down, but it's forming like basically a bullish consolidation at the moment and not a double top that's playing out. Live cattle's retested this high, possible little double top here, and we are on a 60-minute sell signal. If we were to see a that breakdown, that wouldn't get us to the monthly pivot. That would probably get us into about the 184 area. We will see. And lean hogs, are continuing to trickle higher as they've been for a while. 60-minute sell signal fixed there. We will see. All right, great. Let's have a look at questions. The only one I've got really is that I went back and did one by eye a long time ago. The question is, are there any stats on types of topping patterns on in SPY, head and shoulders versus double top? I went back and looked over SPX. We're going right back to the beginning into the 20s, and about 70% of all highs and lows were double tops or double bottoms. They are far more common than head and shoulder patterns. Although the second most popular is a head and shoulder pattern, but the vast majority were some kind of a double top or double bottom. So generally speaking, that's the reason I will favour those. Okay, ES and NQ. The ES and NQ head and shoulder patterns are in trouble, and I'm leaning towards seeing retest of the high on those. We're not in any imminent danger of losing the head and shoulder pattern on Dow at the moment, but in another day or two we will be. And my real concern here is this this bull flag that's been forming on RTY, although to be honest that does tend to act relatively independently of the others on a regular basis, so we shall see. All right, great. We'll see how it goes today, but at the moment I'm thinking retest the high on ES and NQ seem likely. We'll see what else happens. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. I will catch you guys later, and I'll have everything posted as soon as possible.